Yes, you're rich, but guns are not to be played with, or else this could happen. Machines are responsible for some of the most expensive stuff in this world, and this video supports that fact as we'll explore the top 10 most expensive machine guns in the world. At number 10 is the Ramo M2HB Browning heavy machine gun, which sold for $94,000. The M2 heavy machine gun, a descendant of Browning's 1917 HMG, was first inspired by the appearance of armored aircraft among German forces in World War I, which required a greater degree of firepower to bring down. After Browning's death in 1926, development proceeded and the US military accepted it in 1933. The air-cooled M2HB has been in service to this day and has been used in a wide variety of roles on land, sea, and in the air, from the basic infantry heavy machine gun to the rare and unusual, like being used as a sniper rifle. The soldiers who relied on Browning's 50 caliber behemoth to protect themselves and their company affectionately dubbed the M2 Ma Deuce. The Colt 1921 Thompson machine gun comes in at number 9, also selling for $94,000. Thompson submachine guns, also known as the Tommy gun, Chicago typewriter, rat-tat-tat, trench broom, and a variety of other colorful nicknames, are consistently in high demand at auctions. This Tommy gun, which was sold in August of 2022, surpassed previous sales of Tommy guns that reached more than $80,000. On April 11, 1930, this firearm was delivered to Chief Lester Tiffany of the Lake Forest Police Department as part of a 12-piece order. The Wisconsin Waukesha County Sheriff's Office purchased it in 1935. An extractor, firing pin spring, sear lever spring, trigger spring, hammer pin, pull-through cleaning brush, and a cleaning rod brush were all included in the lot. There were also 4 stick magazines, a black leatherette transport case, a manual, a cleaning rod, 2 Waukesha County Sheriff patches, and a rare and complete Thompson spare parts kit. And at number 8, the Cadillac Gage Stoner Model 63A light machine gun, which sold for $103,500. The 63 was born in the early 1960s, just after Eugene Stoner left Armalite. Stoner is well known for designing the AR-10, M16, AR-15, and AR-18, among other famous American firearms. A modular weapon system was created by Stoner in collaboration with the Cadillac Gage facility in Costa Mesa, California. It was designed to allow for a radical level of customization at the field armor level, creating a receiver that could be quickly reconfigured for mission and environment. While some modern weapon designs have touched on this type of flexibility, this was a remarkable capability for the time. The 63A, which was designed with military sales in mind, was given to the U.S. Marine Corps as well as a few U.S. Army Special Forces and Navy SEALs units for testing purposes in Southeast Asia. A copy of the Ordnance Department Handbook and a tan canvas magazine belt with 12 magazines were also included with this firearm. Number 7 is the U.S. Winchester 1918 Browning automatic rifle, which sold for $105,750. Generations of American soldiers used the Browning automatic rifle, or BAR, as their go-to weapon, initially seeing action in both World Wars and Korea. The invention of the gun came too late in World War I to make a substantial difference. It was John Moses Browning's interpretation of walking fire, the name given to a standard infantryman who sets up covering fire while forces cross no man's land. The Colt company put the gun into production with a sturdy 30-06 chamber. Colt was unable to complete the production because it already had too many manufacturing contracts for World War I. Therefore, Winchester Repeating Arms Company and Marlin Rockwell Corporation took over. By the conclusion of World War I, more than 50,000 had been produced. The Browning automatic rifle saw a few minor revisions between wars before undergoing its most significant makeover in 1938, when it was transformed into the M1918A2 with 2 rates of full auto fire, a flash suppressor, and iron sights. It also got a carrying handle and had an inch added to the buttstock. Unfortunately, the rifle now weighed 4 pounds more. To make the bar lighter, soldiers often removed some of the accessories they thought were useless. The Seiko Lowell M60, which comes in at the number 6 spot, also sold for $105,750. One of the most well-known weapons to emerge from the Vietnam War is the M60. The pig, as it was fondly referred to, was carried by GIs and mounted on Huey helicopters and gunboats. It makes perfect sense that it has a connection to the bar, given that it was intended to take a spot in the arsenal of democracy. The M60 could fire 600 rounds per minute downrange with manageable accuracy, providing considerable firepower against buildings and vehicles. The weapon entered widespread use in Vietnam in 1965, and soldiers adored it for its dependability, but disliked it for its weight and the tedious barrel replacement procedure. Because machine gun fire in a conflict tends to draw the greatest attention, the M60 was typically given to the newest member of a unit because they were viewed as expendable. At number 5 is an early original Colt Model R80 fully automatic machine gun which sold for $115,000. This is a fully automatic C&R registered extremely rare early Colt Model R80 monitor machine gun. This Colt bar model from the early 1920s was created and distributed in extremely small quantities to a variety of law enforcement organizations primarily in the East. It was essentially an improved and slightly redesigned version of the original Browning design, with a smaller pistol grip on the back of the lower receiver in place of a pistol grip type buttstock, a shorter forefend, and a slightly shorter barrel at only 18.5 inches to make it easier to handle, as well as a completely new and redesigned muzzle brake and flash hider and a 3-position gas regulator and plug. At number 4, the World War II German Colt MG42, which sold for $129,250. The German MG42, often known as Hitler's buzzsaw and Hitler's zipper, was one of the best infantry weapons of World War II, combining portability and devastating slaughter. The weapon could fire up to 1,200 rounds per minute, making a distinctive and menacing sound that was unlike anything that the soldiers of the Allies, who were used to slower firing weaponry, had ever heard. After the war, the West German military kept using the weapon with reloaded NATO standard ammunition. It served as inspiration for both the FG42 and the M60. To complement and replace the previous, more expensive MG34, the MG42 went into production in 1942, which is made of inexpensive components, outperformed its predecessor in terms of dependability and jam resistance. The US War Department created a movie to decrease the psychological impact of the weapon on soldiers because the rifle was so terrifying. The MG42 isn't as frightening as it seems. The film's narrator further reassures his impressionable audience, and he ends by saying, "Its bark is worse than its bite." This firearm had 3 spare barrels, one that was .762 caliber chambered, another that was 8mm, and a third that was welded shut at the chamber. Now we reach the top 3, and at number 3 is the World War II Henkel-manufactured MKB-42H assault rifle, which sold for $161,000. The MKB-42 holds a distinctive place in the history of weapons development as the ancestor of the German assault rifles, which in turn gave rise to all other assault rifles. It deserves praise from every country in the world that now employs a carbine-length rifle chambered for an intermediate cartridge. It was the German Army's response to the need for a weapon with a bigger capacity than their normal bolt actions and a longer range than their submachine guns like the MP40, but without the needless long-range capability of the full-power .792 caliber rifle bullet. Development on the weapon started in 1935. The MKB-42H assault rifle was a favorite of the frontline troops who were issued it because it excelled at accurate, controllable fully automatic fire for the distances most frequently found in firefights. It could provide covering fire like a machine gun and could outperform the Russian submachine guns. There were only 10,700 produced, and many were lost on the Eastern Front. It would later undergo more development to become the MP43, MP44, and ultimately the STG-44. Of all the fully automatic World War II MP43 and 44 series weapons, this rifle is one of the rarest and most sought-after models. The MKB-42H was the forerunner of all German assault rifles produced following World War II, including the renowned AK-47. Therefore, this would be a crucial component of any advanced World War II German or military assault rifle collection. It is also likely one of the few totally legal, fully registered, and fully transferable MKB-42H rifles that are now on the market. Now, at number 2 is the German Krieghoff FG42 Type 1, which sold for $316,250. One of the most well-known machine guns that have ever been used in battle is the FG42. These powerful automatic guns were a death signal for Allied soldiers on the battlefield, and because of this, at number 1 is also a German Krieghoff FG42 Type 1. However, this one sold for $411,250. The FG42 was developed only a few years after the storied MKB-42, making it almost old enough to claim the title of grandfather of the assault rifle from the famed weapon. The weapon was a single-man operated rifle that, like the bar, combined the firepower of a machine gun. But unlike the bar, it did it in a package that was no longer and no heavier than the Kar 98K, the prevalent rifle at the time. The fact that this weapon shot from a closed bolt when firing in semi-automatic mode and from an open bolt when firing in fully automatic mode helped to reduce cook-offs and was one of its most distinctive features. All of these factors combined to reduce the FG42's lifespan, restrict its manufacture, and thus increase its appeal to upcoming collector generations, as only 5,000 are believed to have been produced in total, the majority of which were destroyed after the war, leaving very few intact examples to be found today. This is the reason it sold for $411,250. The power of these guns still will not outweigh the power of money, which cannot outweigh the power of your subscription. Stay educated on all things luxury by subscribing right now. This is Luxury A Lust. Toodles!